Alright, we're going to give this a shot. Hopefully it comes out good. Hopefully I got the camera angle right. We will see. This will be a continuation. I've had this Taz 3 from Bikes Direct. It's a Motobecane bike, boost spacing bike. And this is just a little snow ride. This is certainly isn't a challenge here, but over here there's more snow, and got it on level 3. Notice there's not a whole lot of noise with it. I can barely hear it. And I say level 3, but it's level 3 out of 5 levels. And this is a plus tire bike. It's 29, excuse the branches here. This is a 29 inch wheel by 3-inch wide Maxxis DHF DHR front and rear. And I have about 12 pounds in them. I probably could go a little bit lower actually, but the 12 pounds is working good. And I sold a fat bike, which I really liked. I mean, I had nothing against it. I sold that, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. It had a BBS HD on it, 4-inch wide tire, 26-inch wheel, and I actually think I like this this plus tire bike better with more clearance. And I only lost 1 inch, and you can still get a good paw print, you know, in the snow. And it's got some cush to it. Plus, this one's got a Manitou Mastodon, I believe. No, Manitou Machete shock up front, made for a plus bike, and it works super. It's very cushiony. And I like the clearance. It's grippy. Wife's doing a little cross-country skiing today while I'm riding a plus bike, and I don't have a need to go with a bigger tire currently because this is working out good. So I wanted to build another one this winter, but I've been getting into some other hobbies too. Always going to be building bikes, I'm sure, but for winter months, and I can't ride quite as much with the daylight the way it is, I started doing some 3D printing, so I've been educating myself on that too, and that's an indoor thing that's fun to do. So, but I am looking forward to spring and being out doing some more riding. I know this doesn't seem very challenging because you know, the snow's not deep where I'm at, but this does have the capability to go through deeper snow than this. This is just a plowed path. Makes it a little easier when I'm talking and riding. So, but yeah, level 3 torque sensing motor, 750 watts. Probably peaks a bit higher than that. Not sure how I would even tell. It doesn't really say on the display, but I'm running a 52 volt battery with it. This one's a 14 amp hour, and honestly I could probably get away with a lesser size than the 14.5 amp hour. I think I could probably, I'm gonna have to jump off here and spin around, but I think I could probably get away with even a 10 amp hour, and that would save a little bit of weight and figure out well, actually I could mount it down lower on the frame too and get the weight just a little bit lower. But yeah, I think my 12 psi, or it's pretty close to that. I think it's pretty good. It seems like the tire prints there are squashed out and everything's hitting the ground, so knobbies are a little bit worn in the back, but they're still pretty good overall. I am very pleased though with this bike. I didn't know for sure how it was going to do in the snow, and super happy with it. And they are talking about the possibility of opening this motor up to a little bit more customization in the software. I saw some posts today about that on Facebook in one of the groups, and I'm really excited for that because this motor has so much potential and there's a lot of availability with it. I think it's a great brand, and I like that they're coming out with new products. I hope they continue to do that. I have a TSDZ8 with open source firmware on a gravel bike. One of my other videos, it's an Ozark Trail gravel bike, and that motor is perfect for that bike. It's got open source firmware on it, which it really is smooth. You know, anybody that rides it that's never been on an e-bike, all they say is, oh wow, when they start to pedal, because the sensitivity is great and very smooth, very quiet. It's actually, I think, more enjoyable to ride than this one, but this one has definitely more power, and it's better for snow riding. So, but of course, both of them being a torque sensor, you get that feeling of bionic legs that you don't have with a cadence sensing motor. Pretty day for a little tool. Enjoy the fresh air, and it's around 30 today, I think. But yeah, see if I can find some snow here to ride through that's a little more than this. I rode this last weekend over here, and it really surprised me how good it goes through the snow. Even deeper snow. My feet were, every time I'd pedal, my feet went down in the snow, and it was still just cruising along. I didn't really have to bump the power up on it. I did ride through a cornfield over here on the left. I did that last week, and I bumped the power up because I got tired. I rode the whole length of the cornfield and tried to keep my balance between the rows in about 8+ inches of snow. So that was a challenge, but I made it without touching. And we got Mabel out here. She likes the snow too, don't you? All right, here's a little bit of snow. You can hear the torque sensor just a wee little bit, just a small, slight whine. It just adjusts to how much pressure you put through the pedals. I got to duck for some branches here, but you know, on a normal bike, you'd be just grunting to get through this snow, and I'm sitting on the seat and just pedaling along. Dad's out doing some plowing on the side by side. It's settled a lot. There was more last weekend than there is today, but it still would be an effort on a normal non-powered bicycle. So yeah, I don't know if you all are like me, but I don't know what your plans are for 2025. If you have given thought to it, to, you know, maybe where you see yourself in 5 years, or some new skills that you'd like to acquire. There's no better time than now to start out learning something new. I mean, I just started 3D printing and I didn't know anything about it, and I've educated myself and learned a lot, you know, in just a week or two. I also just bought, opposite end of the spectrum, but I bought a welder, and I'm going to be looking forward to learning that, hopefully when the weather breaks a little bit, because I want to be able to work on things outside. Don't want to stink up the garage. So, but that's going to be a new skill. I don't have to be perfect at it, or the 3D printing. I just want to learn the basics of how to do it. And it's good to keep your brain sharp and continually try to improve yourself. You'll never go wrong investing in yourself, and obviously investing in other people too, you know, and invest in your friendships, and just polish up the best version of yourself. You know, what does God want you to, you know, what's a good fit for you? The gifts that He's given you, what are you doing with those gifts? Because that's essentially your gift back to Him, is how you're using the gifts that He gave you. You want to be using them to the best of your ability. So just a little food for thought. I always try to think of some new things every year that I can do to make things better and enhance my life. And last year I learned a lot about video editing and started this YouTube channel, and wifey's waving at me. But yeah, trying to just continue moving forward and having new things to look forward to and new things to learn. And we live in a time right now where there's just abundant content to learn, and there's just so much good stuff out there to be put in your brain. And especially if you have a job like mine, my day job is I deliver auto parts locally, and it's kind of nice because while I'm driving, I listen to content all day. I listen to podcasts, and sometimes I listen to YouTube, people talking on YouTube about things that I want to learn more about. It's a great time to learn, and if you have a job where you can do that, or time where you can learn like that, I just really encourage it. You'll be a better person for it. So don't mean to ramble on too much, but I just I want everyone to be thinking about those things, you know, and how you can improve, and some things that you'd like to learn, and be able to look back at the end of the year and, you know, of course, have a new list for next year, but realize how far you've come in just a year. You know, you don't have to be perfect at everything, you just have to start. So, all right, y'all, put this on because being an e-bike, this isn't to say I'm not going to try the other one out too, but the one that it came with was a Dior Shadow with the clutch, and it was a 1x10. I, for clearance purposes on the chainstay, went with a 8-speed. I think that's a 34 tooth in the back, if I remember right, would be the lowest gear. And just an Altus. It's a durable, very inexpensive and durable shifter that I believe covers either 6, 7, or 8 speed. And on this bike, being a mid-drive like this, that seems to be good enough, unless I was really climbing super steep hills. But even then, I don't really think that it's necessary to have much lower of a gear. So I may put the other one on and try it out, and maybe I'll eat my words. But for most of my riding, that cassette, and derailleur is really working out good, and it's very durable. It's index shifting, you know, just like the other one, just doesn't have the clutch, but I don't really notice it being a problem. So I suppose if I was hardcore off-roading all the time, maybe that would be another story, but for most of what I do, I think that's good enough. So yeah, I think I mentioned before about this bike being a boost bike. If I didn't mention it already, it's it's newer technology, and the hubs are supposed to be stronger. It's got more like skateboard bearings in it than cup and cone, the old-fashioned type. So you just pop the bearings out and pop a new set in whenever you need them. But it's a lot stiffer. It's supposed to make for a stiffer wheel, and I believe that to be true. But it's kind of the next thing, and a lot of bikes don't have it. But if you want to spend a bunch of money on a Trucker Specialized, you can get it. But it's going to be a whole lot more expensive than on this Motobecane Taz 3. And these are Sunringle. It's a wheel set that's called Sunringle. That's all bikes are. They're a mashup of components. You know, you get something with a decent frame, and you can change all the components, the wheel set, your derailleurs, shifting, index shifting, brakes. It's all, everything's upgradable. So that's one thing that's fun about it, is getting something and making it your own. And it's gratifying, because you know, if you know what you're looking for, you can get deals on things, and I keep extra things around. If I find derailleurs, certain ones that I like, I usually have one or two of them lying around in case my wife or I need one in a pinch. But stuff's pretty easy to come by, and I guess that's about it. This is, I don't know how many inches of snow it is, but it's packed in a little bit, and I'm in second gear, and I'm really not putting a whole lot of effort forth, and it just digging right through. Lots of torque. That was a good one there. You got to watch for those ruts underneath that are covered in ice. Almost ate it on that one. At least I wasn't going too fast. Winter wonderland today. Just beautiful. I like riding in the snow. It's fun. Of course, it's nice to have a tractor path that's plowed too. It's kind of fun to just tool along, and you can see what your obstacles are if there's any ruts or anything, which this is pretty smooth. Well, this is a little deeper snow here. If I can keep my balance, we're in good shape. Keeping your balance making a turn's a challenge sometimes. Nothing to it. And this has not been used for a while, so we'll try this. Nothing to it. Nothing to it. This is where the tractor path used to be. And then it got moved over along the trees. This is kind of a hill here. Other than my balance, things going great. Absolutely great. All right. Let's see if we can. Ooh, some Jaggers. Whoa. That's another thing about these bikes that I build. You're gonna have a whole lot harder time going over that with a 100-pound. Some of these bikes that tout how great they are for hunting, and people spend big money on them, and they weigh between 80 and 100 pounds, and they're nearly impossible if you got to lift them. Good luck. This bike I'm riding, I want to say it's between, I'm going to say around 55 pounds. I know it's not very heavy. I had one similar to this, it was like 53 pounds. And I think this one's actually lighter, but somewhere in that 50-pound range. 50, but no more than 60. And that makes a pretty big difference if you gotta lift it for an obstacle in the trail, or loading it into the back of your truck when your truck bed's at chest height. You know, things like that. You know, I'm strong enough to do it, but just because I am doesn't mean that's what I want to do. So, all things to think about, you know, when you get into this. There's a lot of, as they say, heavy-duty bikes out there, but, you know, you can have a light bike that serves the purpose. That doesn't have to be built like a motorcycle. So, and these are definitely light. One of the places we like to ride up in Franklin, PA, there's stairs that you have to go down, and there's a little bike ramp beside the stairs that you walk your bike, but it's steep enough that you wouldn't want to do it with something too heavy. And you know, when you get down there, you go for a ride and you're coming back up after you've been riding, you know, you got to be able to pick the bike up and put it up on the platform that you then walk the bike back up. It's got a smooth platform, but it's quite an incline. And you know, some of the bikes, you know, you're looking at a 100-pound bike. Even with walk assist, you better not make a mistake. You know, if one of those wheels slips off of the little like a wooden walkway, if one of your wheels slips off of that, you're gonna have a hard time keeping control of the bike or putting the wheel back on there to either go up or down. So I like the ones that I've been building, because, you know, in that instance they're a lot lighter and makes life a lot easier. Try a little woods trail here. Haven't been back in here for a long time, and it's hard to say what's waiting underneath. Not too bad so far, hopefully. Hopefully there's nothing underneath here that I'm gonna take a ride on. Ooh. It's like the turkeys and the deer have been going nuts back here. Oh, challenging. Oh. So you just stay upright, you can keep going, and I did it. Very, very happy with this build. This torque sensing motor on this Plus bike, it's like a monster truck with a nice torquey. I wouldn't call it super fast. It's just got gobs of torque. Nice low end. It's just right. Just likes to roll over things. Really happy I took and let some air out of my tires too. I brought it from 20 pounds roughly down to around 12 front and back, and I think I could get away with going a little bit lower, but it really squashes the tire out. I probably can see the tracks in the snow, and I'm using the whole tread pattern, which is really good, and it's cushy. It's a nice ride. Nice ride, and it's got as much grip as you can have with a tire like this, you know. I mean, it's not really made for snow. You know, it's more of a summertime. Well, all other seasons probably except winter, but yeah, I wouldn't call it a snow compound. You know, it's not real soft. I think if I was going to have a lot more fun, which could really be a thing on this bike, I'd get the same size tires that I have and get them in a softer compound. I can't think of the name now of who sells. Schwalbe, I'm sure, makes some, but there's one that I have in mind. I can't think of the name of it, but to get something that's a soft compound that's grippy in snow, that stays soft and pliable when the weather's cold, just like your car, you know, with your Blizzak snow tires. Those things stay soft, you know, when it's 10 degrees outside, they still have a soft compound, and it's grippy. So bicycle tires, same thing. But I'd like to get a softer compound, maybe stay with a similar size, softer compound, and maybe even some spikes. Get something that's already studded, because that would be just a whole new element to have studs on here for sure. Might be the full package. Can always do better. I'm happy for a while, and then I want to try something new, but I think that would be a great combination to put some studded softer compound snow tires on here. I say that, I don't even know, you know, it might be snow tires without the studs that are soft enough compound that they're just grippy. So, and I suspect that the studded tires probably need to be a little harder compound to hold the studs. So I don't want to give you false information, but one of the two, or you know, maybe this soft one in the back for the grip without studs, and then maybe the one that's a little harder up front with studs, something like that, to be like little ice picks when you got you know, ice underneath. So yeah, just a fun little ride, nothing major. Haven't put any content out in a little while here, and I just wanted to get something out and little peek at what's going on in my world. So I hope everyone's having a good new year so far, and looking forward to a good year and good health and prosperity. So that's what I wish for y'all.